Oh. Can hear me what, Gearin? I'm just clicking away, mate, on the keyboard. Thanks, Petro, for the music of awesome. Right, let's click on that. There we go. Right, so hello, Star Citizen in it. I was bored today because I finished my work and I started doing some research and I couldn't be asked to do any more videos or start any videos. So I thought I'd like stream for an hour or a bit. Say hello. You know, otherwise I'm a bit bored. I'm not sure I'm wearing headphones at the moment. But I thought we could play some Star Citizen. It would be mostly me answering questions and stuff as well. Because the new AJ patch is out. And with that patch, they tested... Let's bring this up on the screen. They tested serialized variable range culling. In the first hour and a half of the deployment of the patch, which was last night for me. So, yeah, late last night for me. And went on to like 1 AM in the morning. Thank you very much, Garen, for the sub. Very much appreciated. They tested... it seems to be literally now a server setting that they can turn on and off with the latest patch for range-based updates for the networking stuff. And it didn't really seem to change much when they were testing it. For me, I couldn't really notice anything other than I potentially had a better base frame rate at like 20 frames, 20, 25 frames a second when I was in really densely populated areas. But the idea with the range-based culling is that it should give us some good performance increases for the network stuff. Should allow for lots more players in servers and that sort of stuff. That's the main intention of it. And they keep on optimizing the patches every patch. Now, something for this patch that I did not like, which we will go into in a second when we actually move around, is that they've changed the controls, which is just really gash, because I can't set some of my controls at the moment because they don't work, because it's PTU, it doesn't work properly, so I can't fly ships properly at all. It's like that's hell. I fly with basically gimbal lock. I fly in relative mode, gimbal lock mode, and with look ahead mode off on a mouse and keyboard. So effectively I fly like I'm flying a joystick, but with a mouse and keyboard. And I can't do that properly, easily, in the current patch. And it was just hell last night. But they'll get all it sorted out. They just changed over some of the controls because they want to make stuff simpler. For me, it's made it more complicated, but that's just because of the way I play, and I'm very set in my ways. They got some new controls. One of the other things is they got the controls link wrong. They had to wait for someone else to post the correct default control links. But there's the stuff like left alt is no longer modifier, which I used to go into whatever mode, look ahead and all that sort of stuff. Turn that off. There's no cycling on these sets because the controls in game didn't look any different, so I had to rely on these ones that they posted. But then I couldn't decouple. I couldn't do stuff like that. It was really annoying. It was really annoying at the time. It stressed me out. Here's the new controls if you want to look at them. They're going to allow us to customize them all, and these will get moved around a lot probably before release. So I have to set myself to be annoyed. Yeah, controls changes really piss me off. They always have. What else are they doing? Regression tests. They're always going to do that. So they always test to see if bugs have been fixed in each of the patches for their intended kind of patch notes. So they make sure that the Vehicle Manager app works if they've added it. And any bugs that they say they fixed, they will do regression tests in the next patch and say, guys, we want to make sure that these bug fixes are in and actually working. Test them out. And it's been a pretty good run with the PTU, to be honest. Every patch has seen either a step forward or a noticeable improvement in some way. Even if that looked like a step back with some of the performance, quite genuinely. We've had some a shitty patch where they went, these are some performance things that we want to put in, and they caused other problems. Now, the performance upgrades and stuff were good, but there was other bugs they needed to fix, so it was a step forward, but also a step back. And I know that seems oddly counterproductive, but it's not, I think. You know what I mean? They'd have to go through that process anyway to get the things in. And that's why I quite like PTU testing. I quite like being involved with it. And if you like the idea of participating in the development of Star Citizen, it is kind of a good time to get into it now. 3.0 should be pretty good. It's going to be relatively shallow with gameplay still, because it's the foundations of the game, but there's going to be lots of pretty stuff to do. There's going to be and there's going to be some fun to be had for a good amount of hours with cargo, with missions, especially if you enjoy exploring pretty landscapes. They are relatively barren. There's nothing really to fight on them other than other players. But there's going to be a lot of potential to do some cool looking things anyway. It's very much sort of like gaming porn in the way that it's just very pretty. But I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I love the project. So as much as I was really pissed last night at the control changes, it's really like, oh, for fuck's sake, why? And why won't you let me change them in the way I want to change them? Is there anything on the dev tracker at the moment? Oh, there's something about controls changes. Just to be clear, we're rolling out new basic and advanced control schemes for pretty much all input devices. Basic will now be the default, but advanced is pretty much what everyone had before with all the modifiers for the extra functions. I found a lot of players, especially new ones, were completely overwhelmed with the controls. Okay, I'll see if the controls are in. Let's actually jump in now and have a look. Let's do that. So I can still see all the questions. What frames rate are we getting? We're getting 22 frames. Yeah, so the latest patch seems to have, like, stabilized frame limits. I thought it was the range-based updates, but I think they've turned those off on the servers at the moment, though they might be on. I think they're actually off at the moment. My latency is not the best. Normally around 20, 25. Now it's between 45 and 50. Could be the time of the day. I want to have a look at the controls, though. Keybinds. Flight. So these are the old controls still. These are still displaying as the old controls, which is really annoying because I know G is now exit seat. Get out of the seat. That is really annoying. And it's still saying Alt as modifier when actually Alt is free look. So we can go and do some pretty stuff in game while we chat about Star Citizen, and you can ask me those questions and stuff about it. But I'm not going to be able to do any missions or fight stuff because it will drive me fucking mental. Pardon my French. J'ai mental. Let's go have a look. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff they still need to do, in my opinion, to the flight model, but they can keep on reiterating upon that. I'm always going to have problems with the flight model. That's... oh. What did I say that? I'll grab the Cutlass Black, probably. Space Expedited V. Do we have the Cutty Black? There's lots of stuff they need to do with a load of the different features. And they need to make sure that cargo is still stable. I was having problems glitching near Grimhex in my Constellation Aquila earlier. It just randomly glitched me into the pad and wouldn't let me get out, which was annoying. I quite like the Sand Nomad. So this is another thing. The ability to look around at my character, which would have been Z when I press F4, is now cruel because the game loves me. No. I'll have to get used to the controls later. But loads of controls have changed and it just makes my life hell. Where do I buy BoredGamer merchandise? I want a BoredGamer mug for my tea. I think there's links to a TeePublic down below if you genuinely want to buy some t-shirts with my face on. / logo on and mugs and things, but go crazy. I'm Hoko. Hello. When will mining come out, and are there physical changes when we're talking about ore and wood mining like in Warcraft? Like in Warcraft, like in Minecraft. Did I summon a caterpillar rather than a Cutlass Black? I'm a bit dazed, clearly, mainly because of the controls changes. Angering me to my very soul. And I don't have a torch on my hat. Maybe I do. Maybe it's just a different fucking button. Oh, don't change my buttons. It's like pushing my buttons. Ugh. So I'm not sure what the plans for wood and liquids are on planets when it comes to mining them. They don't want planet deformation. They are thinking that maybe you can change the soil on the planet for farming, but you're not going to be able to actively affect the surface by like digging a hole into it. You'll be able to put mining machines down and things like that, but obviously they'll be drilling downwards so that you wouldn't be able to effectively see what they're drilling into anyway. So mining will be in 3.1, which should be. Thank you very much for the cheer, Alter56. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you fucking very much. I need to start putting the cheer and stuff into the laptop fund at the bottom there as well. I suspect that will all be done by Christmas. So thank you very much for the amount of support I've had. It's been emotional and amazing. But 3.1 is planned to be where they have mining, which is probably going to be the first update of F5. No. Fucking... change all my buttons! It's going to probably be the first update that we get in 2018. Basically, after 3.0's release, they are moving over to a quarterly release schedule. So we will get a patch of whatever they have every 3 months is the idea. So expect at the end of March or April, probably more likely the end of April, thinking about it, because there's still a potential that 3.0 could go live at the end of 2017, but I'm thinking more maybe first, second week of 2018 now, but we'll have to wait and see. I can't do any of my fucking shortcuts. But yeah, mining 3.1 end of April probably. That will probably be planetary mining. We might get asteroid mining and gas mining as well. Don't know if it will be coming at the same time, but definitely planetary mining at that time. Yeah, and as I said, no defamation to planets is planned. So I had a bit of a rant on that. When do you think land claims and base building will come out? I don't really know. Base building requires the Pioneer, really, doesn't it? Oh my god, I will make some BoredGamer bobbleheads. That's a fucking great idea. So the Pioneer, I'm not sure if we'll see it in... Well, we'll potentially see it in 2018. When I had my interview with Aaron, when I was chatting to him earlier in the year, he did imply that base building would be a thing pretty fucking soon.
Landing
like,
gear.
Not just sort of like, oh, to hype me or anything. So, potentially we could have base building in 2018 at the end of the year. Doubt it. It's possible. We can have mechanics for some of the base building type stuff, like modifying land and surveying things in 2018. I don't really know. The issue is that we're going to see the expanded roadmap after 3.0 is released. So that we'll have a new website as well and all that sort of thing, which will be fucking amazing. And they're planning to give us a expanded roadmap towards Star Citizen's completion. So I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be a years-long roadmap or if it's going to be all the way to beta, all the way to release. At least a year, I expect. I'm hoping for like all the way to release. That would be fucking amazing. But once we have that, we can we'll know sort of where each of these kind of mechanics lie. So salvage, mining, medical, science, all the different ships, all the fleshed out systems, where they all are kind of planned in the verse. Because obviously we want... let's bring this up again, actually. In the short term, we want the rest of the Stanton system. So we want to be able to go to Hurston, which would be great. And ArcCorp. So Hurston and ArcCorp, probably the next parts of the system that we'll get. Potentially in 3.1? Maybe? The issue I've got at the moment is I have no clue what order they plan to put these things out until we see that expanded roadmap now. Where am I going? No, no, I didn't want to select Hurston. No. Don't want to go ArcCorp either. No. I don't want to go Stanton. I want to go Crusader. Come on. Go zoom in. Oh, we have set that. So now we should be able to point over. I'm in interactive mode, controlling gimbals, which means I'm going to slide around like a big slidey thing.
Quantum drive is now.
Come on. Come on. Go into quantum drive. There we go. When is AI going to be on the planet, like enemy outposts? They've been working on the AI, if you see in the monthly report and, like you say, TVs and stuff. Well, at least in the monthly report, they talk about working on that planetary AI.
Is now off.
So I'm again expecting it early next year. First patch of next year is when we'll probably see ground-based missions done properly with a ground AI running around. Obviously, it was actually sensible-ish for them to just have NPCs running around on space stations and getting that subsumption in before putting their combat AI in on the ground. And then yeah, you'll see them on enemy outposts and that sort of stuff as well. Let us go down to... let's just have a fly around, I suppose. 20 frames a second is not ideal, but it's not the worst. So Do you think that we will see Orion do a moon or planet mining or something like that, which you can fly in and do? So you'll see the Orions doing large-scale asteroid mining, but they won't be able to mine on planets. That's not their intended purpose. That's a prospector. Thank you very much, Cyclo.
Honey, I'm home.
I love your face. Thanks for the pictures the other day as well. Much appreciated. It's not dick pics. It was pictures of when we were in BritainCon. I was drunk, very drunk. When you lose your downsided engines with the Constellation, and you... I don't know what you mean, Vetsa. Sorry, I got confused by that question. When do you see the Vandal flying around? Well, you'll see them in Squadron 42 ATV Special on the 21st, next Thursday. But yeah, obviously we want NPCs flying around and counteracting our missions. You see NPC pirates in 3.0 at the moment, but should see some Vandal as well. Hey Bored, love your face. I've seen in several places that the Freelancer Max will have 2 additional main thrusters to compensate for the added cargo. We don't know. In the original concept of the ship, yes, it has 2 additional thrusters and a larger hull, and it is probably the best variant. But that it's been changed for a rework, so we don't know how it's going to pan out. Should be the best for cargo. That's its intended role. I subscribed a few months. You've got everything covered. Thank you very much, JK. I love your fucking face. Oh, there. So when can we expect a live build? Potentially by the end of the year, we could have a live build of 3.0. I do think that's quite optimistic, though. More likely, everyone will have access to the PTU by Christmas or / the end of the year. With more likely a live build coming in early 2018. So I think first 2 weeks of January. They are constantly fixing and improving the netcode. They added update-based range culling and stuff, range-based updates for the network stuff in this one. So, but they seem to have it as a server setting they could turn on and off. And they tested it last night, and I think it's off currently. The frame rate would suggest that it's off. I don't know. Chlorian Merc, thank you very much for the cheer. Oh, that's all fucking cheer. Thank you. Love your face, dude. Appreciate it. That's what I need help with. Are the 150 to 200 video cards viable? 1060's viable. RX 480 Plus is viable. You can get away with a 970 from the last generation of NVIDIA cards. I don't know how much those cards actually are at the moment because of Bitcoin mining. I'm always happy to buy secondhand on eBay as long as the seller's got a good rating. And you can always send it back if it doesn't work. Bored, almost 100k subs. Thank you very much. I love the amount of... See, the great thing about my subs as well is most of them are active, because they're all based on the same game. So it's almost entirely based on Star Citizen, my subscriber base, which is great. So thank you very much for all the support and love. Yes, so the re-entry burn is triggered by a specific atmospheric height. I don't think it's speed based, but it is direction based. So if I was going into atmosphere and then turned my ship to the side, it wouldn't draw the atmospheric re-entry bubble on my ship anymore. But if I then turned to face the planet, it would around the front of my ship. It's a bit weird. It's still buggy. Yes, I think your 970 will be able to run Star Citizen properly. 970s can run VR games pretty well. You'll be able to run Star Citizen properly, yeah. Yeah, you can play Star Citizen with much smaller cards than the 970, that's true. But I have a minimum kind of viable level that I think is gameplay worthy. See, I think... Sorry, that made that sound like a snob. I think a 950M especially is a little low. You'd have to make severe concessions with your graphics and resolution. Yeah, so Star Citizen's terribly unoptimized for 3.0. It is getting better. They are going to have lots. It's going to have lots more players in. We might even see up to 128 player servers before it goes live. We should see some good performance improvements. We'll see lots of improvements when it comes to CPU spikes and those terrible, horrible frame rates and things. So they are getting better and better. Yes, even with your 1080, you're still going to be getting 20 frames per second. Yeah, so some people are having getting 30 frames a second with 1060s and old i7s. It's not that hardware bound at the moment. It's more software bound. There's lots of things that they need to do. There's so much optimization they need to do for Star Citizen, like so much, and there's no like specific drivers written for Star Citizen either from the graphics cards point of view either. So normally you'll have Nvidia and AMD writing specific games into their drivers, especially with the bigger releases. Star Citizen doesn't have anything like that at the moment. So yeah, so we've got the atmospheric like bubble on the ship. Let's turn the ship, and I'm still getting it. I'm still getting it at the front. Okay. Yeah. So we need to sort that out so that it gets the ship at the right angle or whatever. Oh. See my ship flying around a little bit bobbly because of the controls changes, and I am unable to set my ship up like I would normally. So I am flying like a complete noob. I can't. Thank you very much, Lotep. Fucking love your face. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate everyone's support with Patreon and donations and everything, especially at this time of the year when everyone is poor as hell from Christmas. So thank you very much. What do we think we might see on the Squadron 42 live stream? So number one, it's not a live stream anymore, I don't think. I think it's going to be a filmed ATV special. I suspect that we will see the updates to the Vandal. Come on, ship, don't... Right, we're going to have to fly like this for a second to level the ship out. Oh my god, look at it sway. I suspect we'll see the new Vandal, because they updated their concept recently. I suspect their ships have been lightly reworked, and that sort of stuff as well. We'll probably see a load of the Squadron 42 ships, lots of capital ship stuff, so probably updated Morotor type stuff, walking around an Idris, possibly walking around a Javelin. Probably the vertical slice for Squadron 42 that we've been waiting for fucking ages now. So that was likely to be a half an hour to an hour's worth of mission gameplay. The mission might not necessarily exist in the game, but it will show off exactly what gameplay Squadron 42 has to offer, rather than storyline. So it will be pre-briefing on a capital ship, going to your briefing, travelling to your mission, travelling to your ship, getting out of your ship, getting into your ship, in fact, going to whatever you're supposed to be doing, combat-wise, completing your mission, maybe going to a station, boarding a ship, or going onto a planet, and then travelling back to your capital ship, getting out, and then the debriefing. That's what I'm expecting from a vertical slice of the game, and people will go, ooh, and it not to look shit. Like, the Morotor stuff was impressive, but there were loads of bugs. This needs to be pretty polished. This needs to go, this is an example of the gameplay that we're going to have with our released product. That is what I am expecting. And I will critique based on that. So I might be impressed by stuff, but if they don't get that right, I will make my annoyance known. You know, maybe annoyance, but, you know, be critical. I think I can be critical. I've got an itchy nose, apologies. So you'll be able to land on planets now and moons with giant ships, as long as you have space to land them. I say giant ships. Some ships are going to be too big still, so bear that in mind. Not all ships will be able to land on planets, but larger ships than previously thought will be able to land. If you want to ask any questions, put questions in square brackets. Will we ever see $0 upgrades come back? Yeah, so when ships are flyable, then they will have $0 CCUs. They do not want $0 CCUs during concept sales. That's what they've said. Or other sales, just when the ships are flyable. Ooh. Oh. No. No. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. No. Oh my god. I can't see how people can fly ships like this using gimbaled aim stuff. That's just insane to me. Like, so when I fly normally, this little dot you can see top left of my screen, the middle of my screen now that I'm spinning around, that is locked to the center, and I fly with the nose of the ship. Now I'm just sort of like, oh, that's horrible. Question, but the Valiant is a fly-ready ship, and it was limited. You couldn't buy the $0 CCUs. They're supposed to be $0 CCUs if the ship is flyable. That's what they want to do anyway, so maybe they got it wrong with that. When the 3.0 comes live, do I have to install it separately or let it update like the game, like Steam does for all games? You will need to install 3.0 once, and then you'll have the Delta patcher. If you don't, if you've got the old 2.6.3, you will have to install 3.0 again, fully. So RAM-wise, at the moment, the PTU seems to use at least 20 gigs of RAM / RAM and page file. I've got 32 gigs of RAM, and I can't have all of my tabs open in the background, otherwise I run out of RAM, and you have a bad time in Star Citizen. So if you're running less than 16 gigs, you're going to have a very bad time. That will get optimized massively. It's just for the PTU at the moment. How many moons, planets, and places can you visit in 3.0? Well, there's lots of places to visit. Moons and planets-wise, there are 4 major planetary / moon locations. So there's Yela, Daymar, which I'm at the moment, looks like Mars, Selin, and Delamar. Delamar's more of a quite similar to our moon, I suppose. But it's being mined. It's this big asteroid. So there's those, plus there's Grimhex, there's loads of other like asteroid-esque and asteroid field locations. There's Port Olisar, there's oh my god, this is really hard to fly. There's Korea, Security Post Korea. I was trying to remember its abbreviation, which I couldn't remember. Loads of mission locations, loads of points of interest. There's quite a few things, and on each of those planetary bodies, or moon bodies, whatever the hell you want to call them at the moment. Oh my god, this is hell. Right, I'm going to fucking land. I can't believe they've changed those controls and haven't given me the ability to change them back properly. That's just stupid. Right.
Landing gear down.
I can land here. But yeah, the controls changes, they annoy me the most. So Mars Eckhart and Ruto sort of work. They are buggy. In this patch, I think they fixed a load of those bugs. But they were like bugs where you'd start their first mission, and once you'd done their first mission, you couldn't get any more missions from them. And stuff like, oh no. It's okay. We're okay. Perfect landing. Yeah? Perfect landing. Does G get out of the seat? It is. I'm not sure if Saurus has shaved his porn stash yet. I don't know. I haven't actually been watching many people's streams lately. I haven't had time. Christmas is a horrible time of year where everyone is super stressed. Everyone has to run around and make plans to see each other. And you have to buy presents for people that you don't even like. That may be a slight exaggeration, but it's stressful. Christmas, it is certainly stressful, and busy. Oh, no, we're doing no. Deploy. Any news on the Cutlass variants? Mainly the blue. They are working on the blue and the reds. It won't be for 3 point. I can get out of here. We're good. We're good. Didn't break my legs. Perfect landing, as I said. So I've noticed actually, in this patch especially, I have problems landing ships, both on landing pads and on the ground. It seems glitchier, and all the ships seem quite rigid. I'm not really sure what that's about, fortunately. Just going to have a quicker run around, have a look at some foliage. With the introduction of the new salvage starter ship and the reclaiming it complete, do you think we saw salvage mechanics sooner than the other ones? I think we're seeing mining first, even if it's just simple mining, and then mechanics, mechanic and repair, repair and salvage stuff. Yes, and then probably the medical mechanics. Yeah. I mean, all of that stuff's been being worked on for quite a while now, a lot of that stuff, and whether it's fleshed out fully, or it's just finished concept, or design document, or whatever. It's just some cactuses. All they've gone is they've looked at some cactuses, and they've made cactuses on planets. I can't even pick them. Can't even pick them. Literally unplayable. What was being tested for the special test code thingy? That was, well, last night they were testing range-based, they were testing network improvements that they've got for the server, which they can turn on and off, it seems. They're currently off, I believe. How are you going to get back in that ship? I'm just going to fucking leave it there. It might land itself at some point. Have a little bit of an explore, chat. Will the Extreme 3D Pro still be a good stick for Star Citizen? I think it is a great budget stick. Yes, and Arena Commander and Star Marine are getting updates for 3.0. So, obviously, it gets all the same updates that the Persistent Universe gets and the engine gets. So, that's the stamina system. As you can see my vitals here in the bottom left. You can see them going up because I'm crouching rapidly. And eventually, I should pass out. Or at least hyperventilate or something. Oh, what? Oh, okay. So stamina now works in this patch, which is good. It prevents me from doing anything that would tire me out so much that I'd hyperventilate, which is good. Or at least tries to prevent me. That's good. That's what I wanted. Previously, you could keep on squatting until you pass out. But yeah, so there are going to be improvements to those Arena Commander and Star Marine levels. One of the things that... oh, I can't remember his name. But there's changes to the Star Marine levels and stuff as well. But the stamina system is one of the major things that's changed. Armor actually works now. You'll have speed differences when you run. Your aim will be different when you're... Let's actually grab a weapon. Show you some of the stuff. Oh, I don't have all the guns anymore. God damn it. What weapons do we actually have? Not many. Got the Custodian though. Got that new SMG. Got no ammo for it. Let's see if we actually bought ammo. God damn it. Might be a bit derpy. We've got no ammo. But it's a nice looking gun, at the very least. And at least we got a beautiful scenery. Ugh. Can't change the camera. Fucking controls changes! Ah! That's okay. We do have a gun. With 12 more bullets. So this is the ballistic pistol. There you are. No, so... We're likely to have a beta of the game, well, potentially at the end of 2019, sort of like. That's why I'm expecting a beta of the game. And then full release potentially in 2020. Yes. So it's just research the SSD you're going to go for. If you're going for a budget SSD, because you do want your operating system and Star Citizen on an SSD, Just do some research before you buy one. Look for a cheap one, then research it. Make sure it's not going to just implode. Will manufactured items from the Pioneer be haulable by anything else but the Pioneer? No. So those... the Pioneer basically can build outposts. How close are we to our outpost? I'll start one in there. So it will take us several hours, but we'll get there. So we'll run across the desert. So the Pioneer can build modular outposts for planets. Those modular outposts will have uses such as power plants, such as mining outposts, such as cargo storage, chemical storage, potentially farming-based things. And those will be buildable by the Pioneer and placeable by the Pioneer, but nothing else, as far as I'm aware. There's also going to be other items such as little mining devices and like defense turrets and stuff that you will be able to buy and transport to planets via other means and place that you don't need a Pioneer for, but you can buy them pre-made and separately. So like a defense turret, like drones and things like that. Star Citizen will have women, indeed, but not children, because having children in game, in a game that they effectively would probably potentially have the ability to kill children in, would raise the rating up significantly. And they want Star Citizen as appealing to as many people as possible, because it makes more money. The Optane the 900Ps are really, really, really good. They are the best currently available SSD on the market, I believe, but they are very expensive. And I can also recommend, if you want to go for a cheaper option and for more space, going for something like the Samsung 960s, the Pro ones. They're really, really fucking good. They're very significantly cheaper than the Optane drives. Also, Samsung are getting a Z SSD to compete with the Optane drives out at some point soon. And I suspect they're going to be pretty cool. So, someone described this as like No Man's Sky. Now, I'd actually say that the current planetary landing, if you're just on foot, running around a planet, is actually less gameplay than No Man's Sky in 3.0. And it will be... Oh. We posted the... Oh, is that your... Okay, yeah. Much memory and stuff you're using. But yeah, so it's actually... It's a lot prettier than No Man's Sky, in my opinion. But it's more barren. There's no gameplay to be had here, unless gameplay you've sorted. You want to travel to the gameplay stuff in your ship, or on a dragonfly or whatever. And the planets are... Well, the moons are relatively bare. They're pretty. You can go exploring and stuff, but they're relatively bare. And it's because the game's not even nearly finished yet. It's simple as that. And it's just testing mechanics at the moment. Are you more likely to get to the PTU if you're in an org at all? No. Nothing extra for being in an org. You get, at the moment, if you're a subscriber or a concierge, either CARTI member or first wave tester, you will, or second wave tester, you'll be in. If you subscribe today or something, you'd get in as well. But it's probably worth waiting now if you haven't. So why not? So, with the land claims, because you might have had lots about the land claims recently, you can't place land claims yet. You're not going to be able to place land claims until the full mechanics are in. And I literally did not see any point in buying any land claims at all. Not even as gifts, not even as prizes. You're able to buy them in game, and they probably won't be that expensive. The time-consuming effort when it comes to land claims and land in the game is surveying it and finding it, because you want land with raw materials and resources and stuff on it and under it. And if you don't have that, then the land, for me, would be worthless, because I am looking to mine. I'm looking to make money from my land. I'm not looking just to set up a random base. Yeah, so all of the planets in Star Citizen and moons will have some form of artist's touch to them, whereas No Man's Sky was entirely procedure generated. And this is procedurally assisted, is the good way of seeing Star Citizen. These are huge planets, huge planets, or moons, or whatever, highly detailed, and then they get more and more detailed, with unique atmospheres, unique gravities, and lots of missions and stuff, and wrecks and things on them. But they are not entirely procedurally made. They have artists coming along and going, I want to put a valley there. Oh, that doesn't look right there. Let's put some missions here. Let's put some stuff here and here and here. It's running okay. I actually thought the performance in the last batch was better than this one. They've tested out some new things, and they've got a lot of stuff working in this one. More stable, apparently. I haven't had that much problem stability throughout the PTU tests. I didn't need Vacati, Jesus. With the YIMS bidding system, when we actually have... Can we change with stuff self-storage? I don't know what you mean, Zerfuro. I'm not sure if those are English words. Happy Net Neutrality Day in the US. Happy... Yay! Hello, hello, hello. I have one Optane drive and another SSD. Oh, I'd actually say put your SSD... Oh no, my oxygen's low. Well. So you can see there actually, at the bottom left. See the time goes down rapidly if I run. Because I am basically using more oxygen. Because my heart rate's more pumpy. Pumpy. Let's fucking do some squats. You should see it. Go for a run. You should see. It's only going down. It's not going down as quick as I thought it would. Oh yeah, it's jumping. It's jumping big chunks of seconds. There we go. When is the full live? Do I have to be able to universe in offline mod? We don't know when 3.0 is going to go live. I expect everyone to have the PTU by Christmas, though. Have access to 3.0. And they don't really want people doing offline mode, because you have to literally hack the engine to get into offline mode. Why has my character started stumbling around? Sometimes from stairs. Does your character do that? Mine doesn't. They've changed a lot of the controls. So, normally I'd move the camera with Z, but now Z literally makes me roll on the ground. Which is annoying. Very annoying. There's also these issues with clipping on a lot of the items. Now, they actually have a culling system for that doesn't seem to be working properly. Which is really annoying me. Because the stuff clips through each other. I don't want it to clip through each other. It's the fidelity that we don't want in Star Citizen. What do you expect to see from Squadron 42? So I expect to see a full mission. That might not necessarily exist in Squadron 42's universe. But it will show a full selection of the gameplay, half an hour to an hour long, and then new Vandal, and generally some pretty stuff. Nothing like cool procedural cities or anything, but literally a fully polished looking level that you would see in a fully released game. We're assuming that there will be landing zones on Earth. We're assuming that the solar system will be accessible in Star Citizen. I suspect it will be. What else? Let's have a look at the actual RAM I'm currently using. That's a good shout. Not as much as I expected. So I'm currently using... Oh, whoops, no, that's literally the opposite of what I wanted. How do I show this? Electrical processors. So, at the moment, I'm using 65%-ish of all of my CPU cores on my A700K, which has many CPU cores. It has 6 and therefore 12 logical cores. And we're using 50% of my RAM, so we're using 16 gigs of RAM. Which is less than I expected. I'd expect to be using at least 20 gigs normally. What's my GPU at? 30% on the GPU, so they aren't really making use of the GPUs much at all. They are using a large percentage of my GPU memory, but not the actual GPU. 30% of GPU at the moment. So hopefully we'll start to see GPUs more utilised. Even CPUs. I mean... Oh, I thought my CPU was locked at 4.7. I'll check that out later. But they need to start optimizing for this stuff. And they just haven't yet. Yeah, so some of the Mars and Ruto missions are now working. I think they need to work quite significantly on atmospheric flight. At the moment, it doesn't feel right to me. Let's actually jump out for a second and go into chat mode. It doesn't feel right to me the way that you fly in atmosphere at the moment. Not at all. And the gravity doesn't feel right. The IFCS, your computer system, it just kind of calculates it all for you, and it just feels weird in atmosphere. It feels like you're really floaty, and it shouldn't. So I hope they tweak that to make it a lot, heavier when you're in atmosphere. And when we were able to buy ships in-game with in-game money in 3.1, so expect for the first major patch of 2018 that's not 3.0. End of April is what I'm expecting. You'll be able to earn in-game money in 3.0, and you're going to be able to buy systems for your ships, and weapons for your ships, and weapons and armor and stuff for your character, and equipment for your character in 3.0. But the actual ships to purchase won't be in until 3.1. How many players do you think we'll be able to play with in the very full release? The very full release is planning to have server meshing, so literally everyone will be on the same instance, the same shard. That is the idea. Now, how many players do we think are going to be able to get in a single area? That's a different story. They might have to come up with clever ideas to prevent lots of players in certain areas. Not too sure how they're going to do that. They might have the ability to spin up hundreds of servers for areas and keep on cutting areas into smaller and smaller sections, and more servers run them if they need to. So you might have to have 1,000 people in the same area, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. The plan is to have everyone on the same server, though. the items bidding system with the Moby class can be changed in the future with own self-storage, like what we have in shipping hangars. I still don't understand what you mean. We are going to be able to interact with our inventories in 3.0. We'll be able to do all that sort of stuff on our Moby glass. We should be able to send stuff to our self-storage. We might be able to use lockers properly in 3.0. I'm not sure yet if they're going to have that functionality. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to put things into lockers yet. If we spend Alpha UEC in 3.0, is it persistent? It will be, yes, but it will be wiped from every major patch. So in 3.1 and all that sort of stuff, you will have Alpha UEC and Alpha UEC purchases and your Alpha UEC wiped. It is for testing purposes. They want to keep on messing around with balance, progression, cost of items, and get you buying those starting items again or whatever. Are there FPS NPCs in the Mars and Ruto missions? No. There are no first-person shooter NPCs on planets at the moment. Well, that are combat-orientated. You will see on Levski, for example, there are NPCs walking around. You'll see in lots of points of interest, NPCs walking around. But none of those are combat NPCs on the ground. Are you foreseeing some in-game events, leagues, championships? I mean, they talked about esports before. I think esports is just such a fucking buzzword at the moment. We can make money from esports and loot boxes. I just don't like it as an idea. If Star Citizen is a good game when it comes out, and I'm sure it fucking will be, like I'm hedging my bets on it being a good game, and us as a community to keep them real with that. But if Star Marine and Arena Commander are suitable for esports, it's not going to be because CIG and Foundry 42 have said that they're suitable for esports. It's going to be whether the community goes, these are fun for esports. It's as simple as that. Dota 2 and stuff like that, and League of Legends, they didn't get forced into esports. People adopted them for esports because they're good games for it. You get games like PUBG and stuff, which they're trying to push into esports, and like Lawbreakers say, this is the next esports game. It's not if we don't fucking want it to be. You can say what you want. You can put as much money into it as you want. But it's not necessarily going to be a good esports game. So we'll have to wait and see. What's my average FPS for 3.0? Currently, it's 20 in this latest patch. Previous to that, it was probably about 35. So I'm not actually seeing a performance boost in the latest patch. That said, they're testing lots of different stuff. What type of gameplay / career are you most excited to play? Industry in general. So that's going to be a bit of cargo hauling, but it's mostly going to be surveying land, mining, base building, some of the science mechanics, manufacture of chemicals, drugs, all that sort of stuff. I love manufacturing. I love industry. That's what my channel is going to mainly be about as well. I mean, I'll do like boarding and capture of ships and combat as well, but just to a lower amount compared to guides and stuff that were going to be on how to make money in the game, how to do these mechanics in game, look at this cool thing that we've done in the game. Do you think that they would sell bases on the website so you don't have to use in-game resources to build them? I don't think so. You're about to buy bases off people. You'll literally go, I'm going to pay you to build this base for me. And that'll be like an enforceable contract. And then someone with a Pioneer will turn up and build that base. And you pay them. I don't think they'll sell bases and stuff like that on the website. They didn't really sell land on the website. They sold UE land claims, which are protection rights to areas, because they thought it was a good idea. Because everything they sell on the website is going into the game just like a ship. Now, what they didn't realise is that big media and people would get angry at that because it looks like you're being greedy as a company. So I don't think they do stuff that makes them look greedy, even though it's irrelevant whether they look greedy or not, because they are trying to raise money for the game in exactly the same way, whether they do it with ships or with land claims or with base building or whatever. Have you tried the first 1.5 hours after the patch? Yes. I was there for the bind culling tests and stuff. It seemed to be very good in dense areas. When I say it's very good, it seemed to be a standard base frame rate of around 20, going up to like 25 in very densely populated areas. Do you think the Banu Merchantman will have a mini hangar for a snub like the 85X? I think you might potentially be able to just store it in the cargo bay. Yeah, Evocati are under NDA. And the NDA doesn't just dissolve once the tests have ended or anything. It's the embargo to create content ends, and you can talk about the patch. But the NDAs that the Evocati are under never technically end. Do you think the Merchantman will be a good pirate ship? Good for smuggling, maybe. It might have some good... Well, once we see it fully built out and everything, we'll know. But it might be very good for blockade running. But smuggling's probably going to be pretty solid. You were saying about the new controls. Are there new controls for Flight 2? Yes. New controls for Flight and on the ground. They're not fully there yet either. I can't change all of them. There's no modifier key. Well, the modifier key that I use isn't there. And yeah. But let me link them to you. That's some of the new ones. I'm expecting them to get that sorted in the next patch, probably. I'm new to your channel. How is it that you know so many details regarding the game's future? Do you work like partner with them, or is it research-based? It's almost entirely research-based. I have had the opportunity to go down to their studios a couple of times, interviewed Aaron Roberts, and I listen to all the devs when they turn up into other streamers and people's chats. I've just got my finger on the pulse, as creating content on Star Citizen on my channel is effectively my main job. It's my main income in my life. So I just make sure that I'm knowledgeable about stuff. That's what I do. Do you think space bikes will continue to be able to fly in the future? I'm hoping that with the Gravlev tech, they go, it is just going to drag you on the ground. I don't want them to fly or hover too far off the ground. I do not want them to fly in atmosphere. I'm happy for them to fly in space. I want them to be ground vehicles. Makes sense, doesn't it? Got them fucking buzzing around. After bind culling, what is the next big step for netcode? Is server meshing going to be within 3.0 to 3.3's releases next year, or is that only for final? Don't know when server meshing is coming. They will start to work on it in the near future, so it's not being worked on yet. The next big step for netcode is continued iterations upon it, I suppose. Getting as many players as they can in. There are a few other network improvements they wanted to do after bind culling. Can't remember what they all are, unfortunately, but I will take a look. The major thing that you'll get performance-wise, which will make everything feel better, which is part network, part rendering, is object container streaming, which is in 3.0. Stuff is set up for object container streaming, but it is not being used for its performance gains, which is what it's for. So 3.1 to throughout 3.1 and then the rest of next year is going to see improvements to object container streaming and actual seeing it utilized. So that is cutting up systems, ships, areas, planets, points of interest into smaller and smaller boxes, and then those boxes be the areas that are rendered. So it will work out what objects it needs in that particular box, what props, what NPCs, what textures, whatever, and then that will be loaded into your memory, whether the graphics card or RAM or whatever, and then that will be like a little mini mega map on your computer, and that will significantly improve performance because they don't have to render anything else. Now, it might render adjacent areas as well, and that sort of stuff, but the idea there is that you get massive performance gains because they can cut areas down into smaller and smaller boxes, and it will just render exactly what you need and update exactly what you need in the same way that bind culling and network culling does. So we should see huge improvements, and is one of the major cornerstones of Star Citizen, that object container streaming. We just haven't seen it utilised yet. It's one of the reasons that 3.0 took so long to actually get ready, because they need to get that all sorted, and why they had to rebuild effectively the game from 2.6.3 to 3.0. Hey man, your setup is pretty beastly. I have a Skylake, i5 6600K, and 1080. Yes, you'll get on fine with 3.0. You'll get on just as fine as I am with 3.0. As long as you've got at least 16 gigs of RAM. I recommend 32 gigs though. And try to make sure you've got an SSD to play on. Will players have influence on the game's economy? Yes, but there is going to be 9 NPCs to every 1 player. CIG are in charge of the economy, and the economy is not entirely player-run or anything like that. It's not like Eve's economy. They are going to be able to influence it in the way that they want to. It will be very living, breathing economy. It'll be erratic. It'll be, well, not necessarily erratic, but it'll be very influenced by what's happening in the verse. So if pirates are constantly attacking a planet, missions will be created from that planet, from that system, to go and deal with the pirates. Missions will be more missions to escort convoys and stuff through will occur, and if you don't protect those convoys, or if those convoys don't get through, then materials might not get made to make weapons and armor and ships and that sort of stuff in that system, and they might become a lot more rarer, or they might affect insurance claims. Players are going to be able to buy and sell materials. It's all going to have massive knock-on effects to the economy in each of the areas, and that will evolve as missions get completed, don't get completed, pirates and players blockade things, whatever. So it's got this AI, subsumption AI in the mission system. It's all tied into the economy, and missions will be generated based on how the economy and area is doing, and it will affect all the prices and the stocks and everything in shops. Stocks won't have infinite stock of stuff. It will literally have stock based on the economy, based on how many materials they've had and how long they've had those materials, to have they processed that into a good. Why do I have such a weird head? Because I'm a fucking egg. My head's upside down. Makes me, you know, it's my quirky thing as a YouTuber. Thanks. Thanks to fuck. What kind of laptop are you planning to buy? One with a 1080 in it. I did look at the other day. I will find details and have it for next time. There's some sexy 1080 laptops. There's also enclosures that I could possibly potentially get as well. I want one. I'd like a laptop with, I think next month they're coming out with i7 8700s in, which would be 6-core, 12-thread laptops, which would be fucking amazing, because I could do so much work and stuff on that. And I could have it, I could play games and compile video at the same time. Oh my fucking god. Do you think the Hammerhead will be a good ship for offense as well as defense? Yes, in certain situations. The Hammerhead is going to be very good on the offensive against fighters and smaller ships. It's not going to be so good on the offensive when it comes to fighting capital ships which are anti-capital ship and ships that are anti-capital ships, such as the Retaliator, for example. I don't know if there's going to be a lightsaber. I do not know. Do you want there to be a lightsaber? Is that something you want? I do wax my head and buff it, actually. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciated. Astro Pub here. A solid streamer. You should go and watch his stuff. I should be able to, if you want me on the Captain's Table on Saturday, I should be able to turn up this Saturday if you still want me. I love you. If I make my character Banu, you're not going to be able to make your character Banu at start. So when they release the game, there shouldn't be any alien races to play other than humans. They will eventually, probably, they want to, allow you to play as some of the alien races in the future. So think Banu, Xi'an, Tavaran. But at the start, only humans. And potentially, if you could make a Banu, you could potentially trade with the Vandal. There'll probably be Vandal trading outposts. Merlin or Archimedes? Oh, Archimedes. Why wouldn't you go Archimedes? I know. I don't know what the idea with the controls changes is to make the game more accessible and easier for people, for everyone. For me, during the PTU, it is just a piss take when they don't have the ability for me to have all the controls easily accessible and to use them. It's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, really. It's just a ball ache. No, I haven't purchased a 7900X. I've got a 8700K. And for gaming in general, it's a big improvement over my 6700K, yes. Chooks are still in for first-person movement, yes, that's still a thing. It's one of the reasons that they had such issues. I think Ilphonic made some stuff to the wrong size, so they couldn't use any of Ilphonic's work. So that's what I believe, anyway. That's the rumours. But also, the network code and some of the animation stuff was just missing. So, yeah, there was lots of jitter and stuff. How many systems can there potentially be in Star Citizen after 3.0? What, Star Systems? They've got 120 planned. I'm expecting 40 systems for release. That is my expectation on systems. For a beta, I'm expecting 5 to 10 systems. Gamescom presentation had a time when someone had a hard time getting into the ship from space. There'll be a mechanic like a magnetic tether, so you can tether to your ship. That's an interesting thing. Getting to ships easier than just EVAing may be a thing in the future. The Pros are better than the Evos when it comes to the Samsung drives. I'm not sure of the difference in price, though. They changed some controls for the latest 3.0 AJ patch. They might change them back, they might add some stuff, but they've changed controls and I don't have the ability to change them back, or not all of the ones I want anyway. So I can't fly in the way that I want to, which is just stressful at the moment. It'll probably be sorted in the next patch. I'm not a dev in this game. I'm pretty knowledgeable, though. And read a lot, you know. Do you think the Merchantman will be good for combat? I think it will be suitable for being able to fight stuff off in the short term. It will still want to fly around with escorts occasionally. It's not going to be something you bring into combat specifically for the fighting. It's definitely going to be a target of pirates, let's say. I'm very excited for Titan Armor. Yes, it's one of the things I wanted to see in the game. I have played Elite Dangerous not for the last few months, though. So I can't comment much on game design for it. I've seen other people play it, I suppose, so it looks like a fleshed out, quite fun space game. I don't know what you want from me. It's quite shallow compared to what Star Citizen wants, but it's working, which is a good plus. It's got a good player base. It's got a lot of stuff you can do. It's got the trade, all there working well. It's good. It's just too shallow for me. I love the Thargoid stuff. That almost actually got me into it. But it needs a bit more. It needs some different gameplay loops for me. I like grinding on fun gameplay loops. It's actually what I like quite a lot in games. I'm probably not going to go to LA for the concierge thing now. It just seems too expensive. And if I set it up as a channel goal, it would be still expensive. Even if it's other people's money, it's still expensive. What is the plan with the on-ship gravity and atmospheric pressure? Ships have gravity generators and life support systems, which simulate 1G and the amount of oxygen that you'd have on Earth or whatever. Those can be damaged and destroyed. So my head base is actually pretty good. I suffer from anxiety and depression. Okay, so I'm bipolar. Most of the time, I actually have the high end of mania, so it's actually quite cool. I'm pretty happy. But anxiety is a killer for me. Like I have terrible insomnia. Some nights I just don't sleep at all, and like maybe 5 nights in 30. So like 5 nights a month I won't sleep at all. But I work, and if I'm not focused on something, if I'm not streaming or creating a video or researching or reading or watching something, I get incredibly anxious. I don't like knocks at the door. I don't like phone calls. I can panic at random things. I worry about stroking my cat too hard and hurting it. I have little rituals that I do when I make tea and things, because if I don't do it right, then something bad might happen. I'm a bit OCD, anxiously odd about things, and mostly lately I've been pretty good from the depression side of stuff. Like, pretty happy, pretty good. Can change occasionally. But it's more, I get super anxious, like super anxious still. And I've been worrying about stuff just randomly. I know it's just random shit. About letters, about doing my taxes correctly, and things like that. Just lots of little things. But nothing I can really do about it, to be honest. Managing with it pretty well, though. So thank you very much for asking. My headspace is pretty good. Very, very manageable. Can I use the Force? No. When do you think the LC will be added? Actually, not too far away. We saw some updates to it. They'd done a load of the externals. They'd done a load of the mechanical internals and the mechanics of its spindly bits, because it can contract into itself. They were one of the hardest things to do. So now that they've got a lot of that done, could potentially see it. Could potentially see it in 3.1, more likely to see it in 3.2, so midway through 2018 is what I'm expecting. We're going to see so many ships in 2018. How long until we see a second system and jump point mechanics implemented into the alpha? We're going to see the full Stanton system first, and we're going to probably see most of the mechanics in the game before they start flashing out other systems, would be my expectation. Don't expect to say anything new system-wise, as in new solar system, until potentially the end of 2018, but more likely into 2019. That is sort of like much deeper into the game's development, because once they have everything and all the mechanics there, they've started to finish their procedural tech, and all of their modular buildings, their procedural cities and everything, they can block out all of the systems pretty fucking quickly. All they need to do is get these hero assets, so like the statues at Levski, unique buildings, unique shaders and colours and stuff to make stuff look different for the different areas, which they can do much quicker than we've previously seen with the building up of that tech. I want to just say, actually, on the PTU, we can select items like armour, and we're... Oh, yeah. So eventually we'll be able to use the self-storage lockers and lockers and items and things on ships properly. At the moment, we can't. We can use the cargo bays, but we can only place boxes and vehicles in there. There may be some things for... So next Thursday, 21st, is when they're going to have an ATV special. So it's not going to be a live stream, I don't believe. It's going to be a pre-filmed event that is going to be showcasing Squadron 42 and be sharing the roadmap to Squadron 42's completion. So that could come potentially with a release date on there, or at least we're going to get a much better idea of when it's going to be released if it doesn't come with a release date. So that's going to be really cool. That's going to be really important. We might see a concept cell. Probably will see a concept cell for I don't know what. There's supposed to be a tumbrel vehicle that's going on concept cell before the end of the year. So it's probably going to be some form of tumbrel tank or tracked vehicle or something like that. They do cool wheeled vehicles and tracked vehicles and things. They were also working on a ship. Don't know what that ship's going to be. Potentially could be a civilian version of the Lightning or something like that. Could be a Squadron 42 ship. Do you think that the Reclaimer could swap out salvage drones for attack drones? Yeah, so they were talking about in the land claims stuff, the Part 2 land claims, that you can have defensive security drones. So yeah, potentially with the Reclaimer you could swap out for attack drones. Or defense drones or whatever. KWS, I love your fucking face. Seeing you've donated. Good day, Bored. Can you explain bind culling in a way simpleton like me can understand? Bind culling and range-based updates basically say how far away do I need to receive updates to the client, and that's it. So if something's too far away from you, you don't need to receive that data. It's basically it. It's also they're doing stuff like with network prediction and things. They're only going to start sending just changes in states, and the more optimized they can get for that, then the better, smoother experience you can have for the network stuff with more throughput because they don't send as much data. There's lots of network stuff that's coming in the future. That's the very base of it. Are they planning to add people's names above their heads so we can identify other players? Yeah, you're going to see the ability to identify people in an easier fashion, whether that's going to be a button you press from your HUD, whether that's going to be over their heads permanently, whether that's going to be something through the mobiGlas, whether an item you need, that remains to be seen. But yes, it's not just going to be, I don't know what the fuck's going on, is this my mate or not? Is the quantum drive working on ship? Yes. What happened to docking collars in design? They moved away from docking collars, from ship-to-ship docking collar docking, and moved on to EVA for boarding and docking collars and stuff. You're still going to be able to dock with a space station, probably, with capital ships using a docking collar type thing, but they didn't want the like Cutlass Blacks and Cutlass Reds and stuff docking onto ships in space because the small movements just didn't work with the engine for that kind of thing. And they just went, well, EVA works, let's use EVA, that's simpler. That's what actually one of the design choices I like, because they went, this is simpler, let's go with this. Have they detailed anything involving how ship atmosphere will work when the hull is breached? Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. So, there's going to be a room system that's coming in the future. Now, 3.0 is sort of set up for the room system, but it doesn't use it properly. It knows when oxygen's leaking, but in the future you're going to have atmospheric pressure, you're going to be able to have explosive decompression, there's going to be lots of different components to atmosphere that aren't just oxygen, and gravity, potentially, is sort of included in that when it comes to ships, with gravity generators, although I suppose you wouldn't lose gravity if there was a explosive decompression. Still technically have gravity on the ship, in the gravity area that's generating the gravity, but you'd also have the force pulling you, suctioning you out. It's an interesting one though, but just the atmospheric composition of when you're in a planet, when you're in atmosphere, you get a hull breach, because I hadn't really thought about that before. I'll do some research, although I don't think there's probably much on it at the moment. Have you seen or played Line of Defense, and how do you rate it? I've seen it. I've seen it crash a lot when like Jim Sterling and people have reviewed it. Do you feel like it is past time? It's not my sort of game. For people to start Star Citizen YouTube channels. Potentially, yeah. I encourage any content creators to get involved with Star Citizen if you're interested in it. You have to want to kind of be part of the project though if you want to make a Star Citizen channel, because there's not that much game to cover when it comes to actually playing it. But there's lots of information and news and things to get into and that sort of stuff, just not so much of the gameplay. Well, there's a gameplay, you just have to organise a lot of it yourself. You can still get involved with content creation, even if you think other channels have done it all. There's still something you're about to put onto the table, definitely, mate. I expect the PTU Yeah. Will we be able to buy modular parts of a base, then haul them over to a site rather than hiring a pioneer? There will be modular parts of bases that you can pull over, but the actual outposts, the pioneer builds, are just stored and built and placed with a pioneer. You can move them with a pioneer. So you could have another pioneer build them, and then another pioneer come and pick them up and place them. Thank you very much, Detox. Fucking love your face. Did you see the docking doors are working in the Connie in the PTU? No. Didn't. I will go check. When I visited my hangar after today's patch, seems like the Cutlass Black went from ship size 3 to ship size 4. Was that mentioned in the patch notes? No, it was not mentioned in the patch notes. But they mess around with stuff like that all the time. They expect it to change again. When people complain about Atmo flight, are they remembering that it's 1% Atmo on the moon? That's a good point. It just, because it's the first time we've had atmospheric flight, I just want one of the planets or moons at least to not be as floaty. But I see what you mean. I totally understand. I was just hoping that one of those moons that we currently have would be a bit more weighty in the atmosphere. I'm an accountant in the US, and I wish I was there. And oh yeah, it's I've got an accountant. It's just thank you very much. I appreciate Alexander. I appreciate the love. I wish you could do my accounts too. It's not actually complicated. It's just stuff from YouTube and Patreon and stuff. My accounts are pretty simple. Can I still crash my ship without it being destroyed? Actually in the latest patch I've been glitching into things, so yeah, potentially can. They are destroyed sometimes. Eventually they'll be destroyed all the time you wham into the ground. If a ship gets hit with ballistic weapons on the cockpit, will the ship's interior lose atmo if the canopy is breached? That is the idea, yes. In 3.0 you won't lose atmo in the same way, but you could potentially have an oxygen leak. So you're not going to have explosive decompressions in 3.0, but eventually you will have. But yeah, if you breached the canopy, you would have an oxygen breach. That said, most of the time if you breach the canopy, you've probably killed the pilot. I suppose on larger ships you wouldn't have. What happened to the flash mount? So they changed weapon hardpoints and turret hardpoints. They were totally different things. And then they started remaking all the turrets for each of the hulls. So you will get some functionality for the turrets for the Cutlass, possibly something similar to the flash mount or alternatives to the flash mount, but the flash mount isn't currently there. When do you think we will see aliens in-game or even playable? Playable aliens will be after the full game's release. That's what they've said. That's the intention. When I see aliens in-game, you'll see it. Oh, my fucking God.
Thanks for the help and information.
Oh, thank you for that's how I'm going to say your name. Thank you very much for the $50. That's a fucking huge donation. Thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. And as I said, I'm very humbled, especially people giving at Christmas and the amount of support I've had with Patreon and donations and stuff recently. Thank you so much. We'll see. I mean, you see Vandal and stuff in game now. It's going to be. We'll know more after next Thursday's Squadron 42 ATV special with aliens. Like, how far are they with the new Vandal? How are they walking around on the ground yet and stuff? Hey, Board, will the Crucible be able to hold a medical bay module, giving it 2 support roles in repair and rescue, but sacrificing something like high-end repair features? I don't know. I think the Crucible is pretty focused on being a repair ship, and its internals are repairy. You could potentially, however, maybe take a Cutlass Red in there. A Cutlass Red might fit after the remake. So you could have that and just drive it out. Reckon there'll be time dilation near heavy or null gravity situations like a black hole. I think we're going to see black holes and we're going to see cool things. I don't think there'll be time dilation. Didn't the small in-engine vid of the Constellation destroying a caterpillar with the cargo belts falling towards the planet show atmosphere? Yes, it did show, but I don't think it's in 3.0. They've tested atmospheric effects and they've got the room system in for 3.0. It's just not fully utilised yet. Star Citizen's network code and general unoptimizationedness, all of it, and the servers and everything together is responsible for its low FPS. Any expectations on multi-ship hangar return? Oh, I don't know. I think they're looking to phase the hangar entirely into the persistent universe. So I'm expecting with like 3.1, probably have proper hangars in game, maybe. That don't exist as a separate spawning location. Well, they don't exist as a separate level. You literally go there in the persistent universe. When will the Orion be flyable? Don't know. Big ship. Potentially at the end of 2018, although it's big, so maybe 2019. I don't know. It's because it's so big. What advice would you suggest for other streamers? You're more than welcome to email me or jump into my Discord and send me some messages and stuff. I'm happy to give you some advice and point you in the right direction for creating content and stuff. What I'd suggest for other content creators and streamers, watch and adopt techniques that you like from other streamers, whether they be Star Citizen based streamers or whether they be just other streamers in general. Watch them. Let's go, I like the way they do that. I'm going to use some of that. Make notes and then do stuff like they do to start with. Programs use OBS, mods, research what mods you want. Are you talking about actual getting mods? Trusted people in your chat or trusted friends uses mods to start with. When you're just starting out, you probably can get away with an auto mod. Yes, you will be able to play outposts on planets, so you can have your house and base on planet. Do you see more than a 8 gig requirement for the PTU coming down? At the moment, it's a 16 gig requirement, really. I do expect 16 gigs to be the new minimum, yes. Because of object container streaming as well, I suspect that's going to be quite RAM and GPU memory hungry. How will the Orion land? I don't think it can land. I think you'll see it connect to stations for a docking collar. That's one of the things you actually see docking collars on stations, and connecting to that. But I don't think it'll be able to land on planets or on landing pads. Do you think we'll see a lot more banner ships? Yes, I think we'll see a lot more banner ships. As soon as they've got the Defender and the Banner Merchantman flashed out, I think you'll see more. You'll see more Tavaran ships, you'll see more Xi'an ships, you'll see lots of Vandal ships, especially next Thursday. Hey Board, do you think CIG expects a higher mass of players joining after 3.0's release? Yeah. I think we'll see a lot more players. I think CIG expects that as well. I do really not think my 7950 graphics card. I'm not sure how good your graphics card is. I don't know how to rate that. But your processor isn't awful, and 16 gigs of RAM isn't awful. You're still able to run the game. You might have to make concessions. There might be droids. There's not going to be any crazy in-law AI or in-law super robots, but you might have like droids that are manufacturing based, that literally, like in the Pioneer, they're in the Pioneer building things, but like on a conveyor belt or more machiney. On Spectrum, there's a lot of people that hate that the reverse thrusters kick in when you move vector during. Oh yeah. They'll keep on tweaking cruise mode and the second stage cruise mode. I don't like the retro thrusters and that sort of stuff kicking in either when you move slightly, but I understand why they do it. Do you think there will be an org tax? I think that potentially you'll be able to set org taxes. Yep, probably. Like 2% of the missions you do and something. Do you have a schedule somewhere for these AMAs? Not at the moment, but I will set them in 2018, genuinely. 2017's been quite a tough year for me when it comes to free time. I was looking after my brother, had lots of other responsibilities. I've got less now, so I'll start to be able to set much better timeframes for stuff and schedules. Do you think increasing the size of the freelancer by a large margin would make it more viable? I don't think they're going to, though. Nor would you want it too big, because it's supposed to fit in that medium-esque role, isn't it? So Get to take a guess how many people would it take to fully crew a retribution? Oh, fuck. Probably get away with a retribution with, quite genuinely, probably skeleton crew of like 25, maybe. And if you wanted all of the turrets and all that sort of stuff fully manned, maybe like 50. And then obviously if you want engineers and people repairing the ship and security teams and everything run properly, then you're looking at what, like 150 sort of thing. That's probably the sort of shit we're looking at. How will the Orion be expected to spawn and dock/land? It will probably not spawn in the way that you think it will spawn. It will probably have to log off in at space stations connected to connected to a space station via a docking collar. That's how I'm expecting it to have to land and despawn and spawn. And technically it wouldn't despawn, maybe? Not sure how they're going to do stuff like that. How many ships can an Idris carry and a big carrier? Idris can carry, I think the plan is 3 to 4 fighters. And the Bengal is a lot. Bengal can carry like retaliators and fleets of ships. YouTube's actually probably better for streaming, although Twitch is more commonly viewed for streaming. You can do it on both. If you go to restream.io, you can do it on both at the same time. I was wondering if you know anything about Vulkan integration. They are looking at Vulkan integration into the game. They've also said that although they're focusing on Vulkan integration, that doesn't rule out DirectX 12 now. They originally said it did, but now they're saying it doesn't. I'm not, but they are phasing out DirectX 11, I believe. So it'll be DirectX 12 potentially and Vulkan. I'm not sure when that's going in. No, insurance does not cover cargo in 3.0. Every ship has insurance in 3.0, effectively lifetime insurance. And everyone has exactly the same insurance in 3.0, but you do not have insurance for your weapons, for your items, or for your cargo. Do you think the Reclaimer will be flyable in 2018? Yes. I think it'll be flyable early 2018. I think it'll probably be flyable in 3.1, end of April is what I'm thinking. Do you think a kamikaze cheap ship used for sake of blasting holes in ships fits into game? So there's like a Vandally Claw type ship that we've seen pictures of originally. So yes, potentially ships that will latch onto other ships, but they like the idea of doing EVA docking. Breaking into high fidelity ships like that might not be viable in multiplayer stuff. And they need to make it all viable for multiplayer. So, I don't know. Might be able to get ships that latch onto other ships, and then you EVA out. You are going to be able to break into ships via their via various entry points, and make some entry points into, like, where there's a turret, you can blow the turret off, or weld the turret off, whatever, and use that as an entry point. There's going to be other entry points on ships that you can make. But I'm not sure if you're just going to be able to blow anywhere into a ship. But you might be able to. If the current player limit is 50-ish, and even if the quadruples in size, do you ever anticipate the Javelin being fully manned and some escorts fighting anything? Yeah, just not for 3.0, not in the near future. They need to get a lot of stuff working before we can have capital ship battles. But I do genuinely potentially think we will see capital ships flyable in-game in 2018. How will profit sharing work if you decide to help a player operate as Orion? Would that be up to the player? Yeah, I suspect there'll be that they want player missions and player contracts, so I suspect that you will be able to say, man my Orion for this mission, give you this money, or every so often you get paid a certain amount. We don't 100% know yet. But there are definitely going to be a player mission board, so you could say, help me do this mission, you get paid when the mission's complete. When the game launches, will some of the in-game star systems be on the other side of uncharted jump points? I don't know, but probably. I use 10 megabit targets and 12 max. Any idea how land leasing will work? So they talked about it very briefly in the latest land and UE land claim stuff they released the other day. You will be able to literally rent land off people, but they didn't talk more about it than that. You'll be able to buy land claims from the UEE, which will basically is just say, I have the rights to this land, no one else is allowed to mine it. And then you can rent those rights off people if you wanted to, but we don't know exactly how that's going to work yet. How are turrets in 3.0? Significantly better than they were. There's also defense turrets on the ground which will shoot you if you're being naughty at landing zones, to prevent griefing and ramming ships and stuff, or pirates and stuff getting too close. But they feel a lot better in 3.0 now. I haven't actually tested them in the latest HA patch, but they were a lot better. They still need a lot of work though. Do you think they should include some simple go, kill, X amount of critters type missions in 3.0? They have got patrol missions. They don't have any wave, like, Vandal Swarmy missions, although I think they should. I would like a Vandal Swarm mission. Go here and fight off waves of stuff. Didn't there be an option to control the Aquila scanners from the pilot seat? Yes. You have MFDs, multifunction displays. You'll be able to have the functionality there, most certainly. Cargo runner will need escorts, but who pays for them? The trucker from his own pocket, or maybe the transport requesting company? Yeah, both. The player, if it's a player one. Gonna buy an Idris on Christmas if it's for sale. What's the biggest ship do you think it can carry? The Idris, the biggest ship it carries, probably like a... It's a medium fighter. Well, heavy fighters will be the largest things that it can carry. So I don't think the Vanguard will fit. It's stuff like the Hornet, the Sabre. So I suppose medium fighters then. But it probably will be able to carry a Hurricane, which is a technically heavy fighter. The Redeemer and like the Vanguard and stuff will probably fit in the Javelin, but not the Idris. Although the Idris M could potentially... No, it's just going to be fighters, I'm pretty sure. We'll see more of it in almost certainly next Thursday, so it might have changed in size slightly. They might go, well, actually, with it folded back, we can fit it in, but I don't think so. I'm updating my GPU to a 1070 Ti. Is there anything else I should consider upgrading for Star Citizen? If the 1080 isn't much more, I'd go for a 1080. I suspect they're coming down a little bit, because the 1080 Ti is very good for Bitcoin mining. Elite, you want at least 16 gigs RAM, 32 if you can afford it, solid SSD drive. I don't know what your processor is. You can get away with actually not that amazing a processor. Seeing like 4th gen i7 onwards is pretty good. What would happen if you log off in your friend's ship? Would you respawn and have access to his ship? So in 3.0, I don't know what's going to be like for the live build yet, unfortunately. In the future, yeah. I mean, if your friend's giving you access to his ship and you respawn in there, you'd have access to his ship. In 3.0, you can lock doors. In the future, however, you're going to be able to do more than that. You are going to be able to give individual players individual access to terminals and systems. And say, this guy has this access to these areas of the ship. I'm going to go quite soon because I can't breathe properly. And my throat's killing me, so apologies. CIG has said the Bengal has 80 turrets. How many do you think there will be on the Retribution? Don't know. Lots. It might be heavily torpedo and big weapon based at the front, for all we know. But I suspect it's probably going to have quite a lot of turrets. Probably twice that amount. I think that Merchantman potentially could be ready towards the end of 2018. We'd possibly see it flight ready. They've moved away from hangar ready stuff now. So it just goes flight ready. What would prevent players destroying their insured ships to use a reclaimer to create a new ship? Oh, because even if you lose that ship, you still have to spend a while getting that ship back. So potentially you could destroy a ship as long as you did it outside of an area of space that was detectable that you'd done that, and then reclaim that ship, nom nom nom, and then put an insurance claim in, but it might take 2 months for you to get
God,
that insurance claim back, that
face.
ship.
Keep
You might have to
keeping
pay...
on.
Oh my fucking god. Relapse 788, you fucking sexy little bitch. Thank you so much. $100 is more dollars than I'd expect. Thank you. Merry fucking Christmas. Or whatever you're celebrating. Merry Starmus. Thank you. That's amazing. As I said, humbled Christ. Or whatever deity. Thank you. Jesus. Legend. Fucking computer. Yeah. Shit. I'm going to laugh when half the people own a Carrack, melt them, and realise they can only carry a snub. Yeah, it's probably going to be able to carry a snub and a rover. That's what it said it's going to do. That's its intention. It's a kind of top-tier exploration craft. That snub that it gets, the Pisces or the Poseidon, whatever it's called, probably going to be very good at scouting and for exploration, but it's probably not going to be able to carry a fighter. Though we don't 100% know until it's fully fleshed out, but the intention is it can carry a snub. Is there or will there be a Reddit-like site where we can check resource prices if we're working in transportation? I mean, I'll probably put it on any website that I run. There'll be one. Someone will make one. If they don't make one, I will. What's the advantage of locking your gimbals? It depends on how you fly. You can lock your gimbals like I do so that I fly from the nose of my ship rather than aiming with my gimbals. I aim with my nose. Thank you very much, Stuff M3. I'm sorry that I'm dying, guys. Apologies. It's just how I learnt to fly, and I think it gives me the precision of using a mouse, but also the benefits of the joystick for me. I can have big weapons, don't need to use gimbals. What will the mechanics be to breach something like a bulkhead door on a ship? So at the moment, breaching a door on the ship is you can shoot like guns at it, like a railgun or your ship's guns, and the ship will just open effectively if you hit it enough. In the future, you will have to weld it open, breaching charges, high explosives, whatever. Not to sound like a parrot, but when we're going to see the Redeemer. Redeemer's low priority. Probably won't see it in 2018. Well, potentially could. Probably more likely to see it in 2019 once they've reconcepted it. That said, don't 100% know. They're moving away from energy shield using meshes, and they're starting to use particles instead. So we should start to see better shield effects and different shield effects very soon. Yeah, they have to second phase concept that Redeemer. Any other questions before I sort of see who else is actually streaming? Thank you very much for the stupid amount of money. That's very appreciated. Donations. Thank you very much for the subs. Thank you for the Patreons as well. The people at Patreon, I've just seen had some new Patreon followers. That's very much appreciated. I will be looking into a drip account or a buy me coffee account or something. Some people were annoyed at Patreon because they changed the way they did their Patreon stuff. It only seems to really affect people that were like $2 and $1 pledges are now having to spend an extra 35 cents with their pledges, which is total bullshit. But higher end pledges for Patreons actually makes the Patreon person, me, more money. The Patreon person, you know, me. Any news on the Vanguard rework? Well, the Vanguard's cockpits have been reworked actually for 3.0, and they've got new cockpits. They are working on the new Vanguards. Expect them quite possibly for 3.1, end of April, if they've got enough time to do them. Would you say ships have the potential to go from concept to flight ready faster now? Yes. Oh god, yeah. Significantly faster than they used to. The only issue is if they've got new mechanics to build for those ships, then they can... I don't know how long they take, because those mechanics might be delayed for ages. But simpler ships, that like the Hawk and stuff even, they can get done pretty quick, even straight from concept. Do you believe that every ship purchased with real money should come with LTI? Yes, I actually do. I think there should be a cut-off period just before beta, or possibly just before release, or literally when they stop selling ships, but only sell ship packages or whatever, should just come with lifetime insurance. That's my feeling on it, but I don't feel strongly enough about it to fight it as a cause. Yeah, so the other thing that Patreon sucks with is if you want to support lots of people with small amounts. It's the smaller pledges, under $5. It fucked people over with that, definitely. Sneaky Raider, thank you very much for the sub. Love your fucking face a little bit. Any news on the Avenger rework for 3.0, mate? No, I don't think it's getting any major form of rework for 3.0. You'll see like materials updates and flight model updates and stuff like that, but nothing major. What do you think about the prisoner times serve mechanics described in the Hawk video? I think it's potentially got some cool gameplay there. I don't want to have to be waiting to have to be transported to a prison. I don't want to have to be in someone's custody for ages. So there needs to be some mechanics for that as well. I don't know how they're going to balance it. I don't know how they're going to balance bounty hunting players and capturing players. It's an odd thing. Because you could be potentially travelling with someone for hours. They wanted. So there are ways around it. You could instantly respawn when you get captured. You could instantly be on a prison. It's not as immersive, but there needs to be a way around it. My 40th is on the 15th of December. Someone want to give me a star package. Shockley, I appreciate the just bluntness of you asking that. Has the Reliant? I don't fucking know. Hate the Reliant. I will have a look at the Reliant later on today for people because I get lots of questions about the Reliant. I've just been avoiding the ship. Cutlass Black, a good choice as an upgrade from an Aurora MR. Yeah, it is. I love the Cutlass Black. I would say you will be able to get in game probably relatively easy. So don't like try and bankrupt yourself over getting ships in game. You'll be able to get everything in game, especially in 3.1. You can buy ships. In 3.0 you can steal ships. So, do you think organisations will be able to build space stations in the future? Yeah, I think space stations will probably be a buildable thing in the future. It's like, you know, the ground, but with more space. So yeah, I think space stations will probably be a thing. And a space station building ship. Now that the 600i has been updated and being reworked, do you think the 890 jump may be updated something like a capital ship 2 ships price? It'll be big and Corvette sized, but it's not going to get like massive, the 890 jump. It's supposed to be luxury. It will get updates because of the 600i. The 600i will get fully fleshed out and built, and then those improvements and lots of the assets from the 600i and the materials will get used for the 890 jump, but don't expect it to be huge. What do you think about the Vulture? Which ship did you vote for? I voted for the Kraken. I wanted the large civilian carrier ship. Thought it'd be cool. The Vulture is important to the game, admittedly. Small salvage ship. That's the Vulture. I think that we're going to get them anyway. So that's why I voted for the other one. But you've got to bow down to the community. No, I'm going to... I don't think it's water-based. My lungs are fucked. I had a bit of a cold the other day. I went out on Saturday, got drunk with a mate and stayed out a bit longer than I should have. He's had a really fucking shitty time. Much significantly shittier than me. And I don't really get in contact with people much, so I think I got a bit of a cold. And I was a bit hungover from the day, and I'm exhausted. So I'm gonna go eat, and I'm gonna chill, and then I might play some Destiny 2 or some 3.0. The Destiny 2 resets just happened, I think, so I want to look through some stuff there. But thank you very much for all the fucking love. It's very much appreciated. Can't believe, yeah, you guys are amazing. We're going to go and host Saurus in a second. Maybe he'll be salty and you can get some laughs from that. No, I love you. Love you, Saurus. Mwah. When you wake up in the morning and look into the mirror, do you A, yell at yourself for being so fucking awesome, or try to kick yourself in the buttocks because you're a savage and can take it just to wake up? I have one of the most amazing asses of anyone you'd ever meet. I like my ass is fucking beautiful. It's powerful. It's strong. I could grip like this controller in it. Probably break this controller in my buttocks. I'm not even joking. If anyone sees me at an event and they just want to touch my bum, oh, this got a bit weird, didn't it? It's got weird fast. Thanks. We went off a bit of a tangent there. Do you think we'll be able to booby trap owned or stolen ships? I think we'll be able to probably have defense turrets in them. And we sort of saw one a while ago, a little tiny defense turret in a white boxed environment. In the same time, we actually saw the room system working with explosive depressurization. That was a while ago. I'm not sure if we're about to booby trap stuff. I suppose there are going to be explosives to blow through doors. I wouldn't see why you'd want to booby trap your own ship, but potentially yes. I'd be able to crash a beer can with it. Yeah, fuck yeah, jeez. I might say Mr. Detox and drunk when he saw me at BritismCon. I don't have a big ass, I have a lovely ass. Fuck you, Detox. What do you think of the Xi'an language? I think it's great. I think that's great that Bretton Watkins is involved in its creation and its development. And I think it's cool that we're going to have fully spoken, fully learnable languages. I think slightly unnecessary, but it's cool for immersion. Toilet go to have a purpose. I don't know what to... Yes. NPCs will use toilets. We'll be able to use toilets, technically. I think probably facilities on a ship will probably make NPCs cheaper or something. Or make them happier. Will bigger ships need security? They won't need security, but you'll want security for larger ships. Otherwise you'll be vulnerable to boarding and that sort of stuff. Right. I love you guys. I'm going to go host Saurus. Let's see what he's doing first, actually. He's still got his
the landing pads here.
Beautiful mustache. You can't argue with that mustache. Well, you can. You probably need to get protected from that mustache as well. Right, let's host him in a second. Does killing other players currently have any consequences? Yes, you'll get if you are detected doing it. So there are comrades and security and stuff. You will get a criminal record, but it's not permanent. So not many consequences. I think that some ships will probably have remote self-destruct, but not all ships. And I think that if you have remote self-destructs and then hacking in-game and that sort of thing, then maybe they're not the best idea. Fuck. Right, we're going to go raid him. I'll link it here. It's BoredGamer, that's me. Slash raid. So what we got this week? This week, more 3.0 PTU patches, more testing of networking things. So I'll get some videos up on that when they become viable, when they happen. What else are we going to do? We'll probably look more properly at planetary landing, moon landings and stuff and how pretty they are. Next week is obviously all the Squadron 42 stuff, which is going to be awesome. We'll see lots more capital ships, yeah, I'm sure. I think there's supposed to be a battle cruiser at some point. I will get some vitamin C and vitamin D. That's not dick in my mouth or anything. That's vitamin D is actually very good for colds. Surprisingly better than vitamin C, because your body doesn't actually hold on to vitamin C. You think we're about to set how many time? Probably about to set self-destruct time limits, yeah, before they blow up. At the moment, you can't get out of the Aurora quick enough, can you? Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, guys. Love your fucking faces. You take care. Have a good Christmas if I don't see you before. I will, though. Love you. Bye. Mwah.